welcome to the Clash Kill Podcast. I'm Colton Cruz.
Brianna Marshall.
Ashley Brown.
Wyatt Garland.
Welcome to the podcast where we talk about and analyze anime.
And punch things with our mouths.
Today's topic, Attack on Titan Season 3.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so we're catching up. The last episode that came out before this discussion is episode, I think it's 39, it's Sins.
Shin,
yeah.
sure.
So it ends with, if you haven't watched up, this is where the spoilers start.
Ding.
Just up to the anime, no manga spoilers, no the next episode spoilers.
Yeah.
But we end with Eren chained up in the crystal chamber.
Yeah. And what's important about all of these episodes that are happening in this season is that he's really just letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's just really just like, no, this is the world. I have constructed enough, driving plot to get you through it. Like, the characters and their ambitions and passions have gotten us here, but he's finally like, okay, this is why we're here.
Yeah.
For the first time, I feel like I'm understanding why Eren is the main character.
Yeah.
Because before, we're getting a little Black Clover-ish where I'm like, he's just yelling a lot.
Yeah.
I get it,
He's the main character because he was the angriest
Yes,
in season 1 and
that's
2.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Is he more angry than Mikasa?
Oh, yeah.
Mikasa's just intense. She's just thirsty,
Intense.
to just a super hardcore degree. But we're learning so much.
Yeah. Like, this season is, I think, a real good capitalization on their ability to control the amount of information we know in the series. Mm-hmm. So we start out, episode 1 back in season 1, if you remember that far back. If you were born still.
A decade.
If you're born way back then, like us old timers, they start with there are Titans and there's this city and what the hell are they? Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah.
Humanity.
The characters don't know. Nobody, it's posited in the first episode that nobody knows what Titans are.
Yeah.
That there's not a single living person that knows what Titans are.
Or the ocean.
Or the ocean.
Yeah.
Some people knew about the ocean.
Okay.
But and they even talk about control of information. They literally give us Eren's dad is. They say at that time that his dad is a doctor that goes to the capital a lot. That gets scrapped, obviously, pretty quickly. Or eventually now.
Yeah.
But, we literally hand him, the most MacGuffin here's a key to the basement. Get to that in a later episode.
Does he still have that key?
Yes, it's still, on his
Bullshit.
neck, man.
Oh my
I haven't
God.
seen
I
it.
haven't seen that key
No.
since.
Yes.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. They literally were here's the key to the information that I'm not telling you right now.
Yeah.
But there is.
Give it away.
It's exactly. It's
Exactly,
that
yeah, he controlled it. So we were okay, so there is an answer to all this, but nobody knows it except for Eren's father, who has left it behind this key, and that is when everybody will know all of the information.
So we're hitting critical mass point, and I think the last couple of episodes that I remember there was an episode before this one where I literally paused it and stood up for a second and walked around, and it was okay, because they just said something.
You just had to put the pieces together. It's just okay, what exactly is going on?
Yeah, he likes to drop knowledge bombs, yeah.
No, but in the middle of the episodes too, those cards.
Yeah.
He literally had a paragraph. No, this is how Titan powers. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, you didn't know that
Yeah.
female Titan just could control other
Just
Titans?
woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Did you
what happens.
did you not know that
It's called a scream, duh.
if you eat another Titan and you're already a Titan, you steal their powers? Duh.
Yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
gotten
Like, you
used to
didn't-
just ignoring the cards and just
Oh,
being
yeah.
this is when I can actually look at my phone.
Cards started in manga originally with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He would use them with
Oh.
stands because otherwise they never had great explanations of how stands worked or what their power levels were.
Yeah.
So he started just putting here's what their basic power is, here's where they rate on a chart.
Star
And that was a
Platinum's
way-
a star.
Exactly. So everybody when they read the manga was okay, taking that information, I'm going to read the chapter and
Right.
know. And so in some series where the storytelling does not come through super technically, like Attack on Titan, those middle cards are very important to
Oh, yeah.
understanding
Now I know.
what's
Yeah,
going
now
on.
we
Yeah,
know.
I'm sweating about it. But now we know some things, but we still don't. The last episode that aired was, basically Kenny and his posse, who are apparently following his what they're aware of misguided dream, are versing off Levi, and guess what? We now know Mikasa, Levi, and Kenny are all related, and they're all a warrior class.
They're all Ackermans.
And that's the thing, personally, I'm all about bullshit, okay? It's fun.
No, it's all bullshit.
However, for me, Mikasa's whole thing was that, she hit her head and, woke up that, human adrenaline bullshit.
Yeah, that not being a human like trait that could be like possessed by
Yeah.
anybody. This kind of diluted a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's also strange the way he was like, have you ever like awakened to hidden power deep
That
within you?
got me.
Like it's like okay, but like
Who
for
talks
context
like that?
here-
Who talks
well,
like that?
Like also it's just like okay, well Aaron awakened to power that was buried deep in him that turns him to a Titan. Are you talking about that?
See,
or
that's
just the time she
what
got real
got me
stabby?
because I literally
Like-
had to pause the episode. I was like, wait, is she
It's Mikasa,
Titan?
it's
Like what is going on?
And then it's just like, no, she just got real stabby one time. That's just an
Yeah.
intense thing
Yeah.
that people do.
And then Levi's like, oh, BTW, I do that, and the other bad male character does that too, so you're not important.
Yeah.
But
I
then, like,
don't
the
know.
question is like, we don't even know because they didn't even address, like, Levi didn't explain his portion.
Yeah, he was
where,
just like,
yes,
yeah, that happened at
yes.
some undescribed time in my life too.
yeah,
And then move on.
but we're not gonna tell you.
And then the other thing was they even made a point of it later in the episode where that one lady was like, yeah, I mean, Levi was completely ambushed and he killed 12 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big
Oh,
deal.
man.
And
It's
it
so good
is-
though. It's such a good.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good. It's more. We talk about world building. Like it's people that aren't in the military or like they're in the military, but they're not in the like scout troop. They're like, no, Levi's a motherfucker.
100%.
Yeah.
And then again, that expands our information. Okay, like Levi isn't just known like in this little crew. He has like an outer reaching like
Yeah.
world. Like he has
Right.
impact.
And exactly, and you get ties like that, and that's what a lot of this season has been doing. It's been, I'm sure by the end of the season it'll tie things even more together. But I
Hopefully.
remember when they were talking about, what is it? Our Ansel Lansbury character, Hanji, like she made some assumption where she's like, yeah, you know, I saw that church when it got broken. It was totally Titans. Like it wasn't, but it was totally. And we're like, okay, so we're just gonna believe it's Titans. And then you're sitting there with a flowchart on the wall, and like, okay, so if that was Titans, that means that.
Let me get the yard out.
But like that's the thing. Before we were just like, I don't even know what yarn is. Like you know, like there was no
yeah,
thread.
Consuming this information, just like being told, like, yeah, this is all what I need to know, and now we're just like, wait a minute, do I need to go back and just look for little clues
Yeah.
and everything?
Yeah.
Because
Well, it's
now I
because-
don't really know.
First season, the animation was so good, it just got us through it.
Yeah.
Well, and like that was always my criticism too. That was the always thing that made me fear Attack on Titan as like a good story was it does all this where it's like, no, I'm gonna just bird feed you the information. What I give you
Yeah.
is what's important, and that always just worried me because I was like, what if you make me so interested in this mystery, we get all the way to the end, and then it's just, oh yeah, it's God.
Yeah.
Aaron is actually is God.
No, it's just existential dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Existential patriarchal
Which
bullshit.
Season 2 opening.
Which that's the thing. Like so, like season 2 opening because of that. I took this season 2 opening. I saw dinosaurs, and they did the like very heavy
Evolution.
Like,
I
every
love that.
animal has a heart that is in the Titans, and it's like okay,
Yes.
so this is about life force. Just not at all.
No,
Red herring.
not a part of it at
No.
all.
Which upsets me. Like that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was worried about, and that's something I don't like about.
You know, and
it.
I remember watching like the opening with my boyfriend, and he's read the whole manga, and he was watching this opening, and I was like, "Hey, don't give me any spoilers, but does this have to do with anything? Should I not be watching this?" And he looked at it and watched the opening, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Why is there a dinosaur?
I wish it had
Exactly.
something to do with the story. Like I was totally on
Yes.
board. Like all the things he had bird fed me, I was like, no, I like these pieces. These are
And you
cool
know what?
toys.
Yeah.
You know what?
Like-
It was because of the fucking Beast Titan.
Yeah.
That's literally why you're
Yeah,
like.
it seems like he has some kind of natural control,
Yeah.
and he is like the link between beasts and man. It was like,
Yeah, I
okay,
had
there's
it
like
figured
some
out.
symbolism
Get the
here.
yarn.
Nope.
Now he's just a hairy
Nope.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
His superpowers, he throws things. Like there he is.
Like I
Like
feel like we're not even gonna see him at all.
Oh,
this
you'll see
season.
him.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
so I've read in the manga. I know exactly where this season's gonna end, and then the next season is about Titans. Like what? they
Okay,
are.
so we're back on Titans. Yay!
That's the thing I was good about because I was worried, especially I'll get to a point I was worried about later, but like initially I was like, oh boy, we're doing the coup bullshit, we're doing the political intrigue.
We're getting the prequels of Star Wars here.
Yeah.
Like,
But they did it in one episode, and God bless. I was like, okay,
yeah.
Thank
thank you.
gosh.
They checked it. They're like, this is a coup. Everyone was on board already. Guess what? There's a character who was actually a sadist the whole time and wants this to happen. So, like, all the pieces
People are
just...
complex.
Exactly.
Yeah, can we talk about that one moment where he has him upside down in a chair,
Attack on
funnel
Titan.
in his hat?
Tad, okay, I'm sorry. Tad Tag your shit ass to mouth. That's bullshit. I wasn't ready.
Oh my god!
I wasn't ready. I was
Ass to
like,
mouth.
wow,
See,
wow.
So like, is it explicit in the anime? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I watched the Funimation or Crunchyroll, and they kind of censored it.
that?
They didn't show like a full whole body shot.
No.
No.
Okay.
But
The
it's
only
just like
In the manga, it's a full whole body shot.
Oh my
You
god.
see you see pipe end to end.
Oh,
like-
I'm sure.
Okay.
He's-
Oh my God.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
Oh,
that's
no,
what I was like
no.
worried
Hey,
about.
we may have even seen the edited version, but we pieced it together. We,
yeah,
we know
Good,
what
good.
we
happened.
know what's
Yeah.
happening.
Because I watched it and I was like, that's nowhere near as graphic as I saw. Like,
Well, what really nailed me with that scene in particular, because let's stay on it for a second, is when he was like, "Oh, this is perfect." It's like, "Oh boy," and then literally
Pink.
Pixies later says like, "Yeah, it's really messed up that he amassed power specifically for that."
no,
Like,
did they in the anime? Did they do Erwin and Zachary, the sadist guy, in the carriage together
Yes.
talking?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
they did do
That's-
that.
that's
Where
a
they
good
did talk
scene.
about each other.
And that's
Okay,
a-
yeah.
because that
he's-
makes it all make sense.
He's
like,
basically like pulling out a cigarette and being like, "Hey, so why do you say fuck humanity?" Like he's like,
Yeah.
"Why do you think you're more important?"
this
He's
clearly
like,
was a bad decision for like the whole picture.
yeah, but but
Yeah.
why? And he's like, "Oh, I have a dream," and he's like, "Oh,
I'm
just a
about
fuck
it. I got a dream too.
and we are aware of that, and that's that really ties together everything as far as why I'm not worried. I was
Yeah.
worried at the start because the political intrigue and all, like, we're gonna spend a whole episode dancing, and then we got to this most recent episode where we got so many game changers, so many Titan information about memory, and that is
Memories
as
are
a,
very
right.
important.
So like
as a
just-
storyteller,
yeah.
like,
Exactly. Memory is the thing that you can play coy with. Just to build us there, though. Like, so season 1 was about there are Titans, and then we really developed this core character group of these are the soldiers.
Yeah.
And that's what this series is. So we had a character group, and it was like the information that got revealed at the end of season 1 was that, oh my god, people can be Titans.
Yeah.
So that was like our first step, and like that drew us to like, okay, there are people inside the
Shifters.
walls
Shifters.
who know about this too. What the fuck do they know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This season, we've already gotten to the point, and then we obviously then at the end of season 2, we know some fucking us were Titans,
Yeah.
and they can
Yeah.
transform back and forth, and there's some shit out in the woods
Yeah.
that is,
No, we're not even gonna talk about it.
also the wall, but who cares?
Yeah.
and then the beginning of this, we learned we got to the limit of that. So like we knew there was some intrigue inside the walls. Basically, we've come full circle. Like, okay, we have all the information about what's in the walls. Like,
Yeah.
them deposing the government is them also saying, we've got all the information up to here. Like,
Yeah.
the last piece is the real royal family Reese. Like,
Yeah, and what I
that's the last
appreciate-
of human knowledge of all this we're
Yeah.
gonna get.
And what I appreciate is that like the scouts themselves are digging for the information that us as viewers are wanting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they're
Yes.
like I feel like we're on a journey with the scouts at the exact same point in time.
Yeah.
So,
Right,
which is
because
so
their information
nice.
is
Yes.
limited
So,
to us.
yeah.
so
Yeah.
Jotaro, or like I'm so pumped that he is that's him. But like he is right where we are. He's like, no, I have actively. He's basically.
He's suspicious.
Yeah.
like
He's
we are.
suspicious. He's aware. He has the most information out of anybody in the Scouts. Technically,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I am the most involved with the government that's been hiding up things. But like, so every question he has is directly related to anything that's important. And the fact that he's getting some answers now.
Right.
You remember, like, I think it was at the start of the season, or maybe then the end of the first episode, where he's like emotional about like, no, this was the end of last season where he's like, finally, he just lost his arm, but he's like, finally, we know
Yeah.
something. He's
Yeah.
so happy
Yeah, that was worth
in
it.
his
like, yeah.
lifetime, like that we figured out something that was being hidden, and now things are being revealed, and the whole memory thing gets me shaky. But what is great about Attack on Titan is how visceral it is. I mean, torture aside, there are elements to it where characters are actively being affected by their actions.
Mm-hmm.
They're actively fearful of others' actions. They're, making gambles. These are characters with stakes, and that is felt by characters that live and die and situations that change them. The whole part where they were talking about how oh, well, you're a murderer now. Are you? That was
Right.
so good.
And
that
just,
was-
and just to even put that in perspective
Goosebumps.
too, we talk about the Scout season. we're down to there is Connie and Sasha left. That's not Armin, Mikasa, and
Yeah.
Aaron. Like, they're the last two, like, in
Yeah.
the squad that was in the school with them. Other than Historia, who's there. But
Yeah, and one thing that I also loved is, like, we had that whole discussion about, like, him not being okay with the fact that he just, like, on-site killed somebody.
Yeah.
But then, like, right before they're getting ready to go in where Kenny and the crew are, like, Levi is just like, hey, guys, like, you need to be ready to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
He's like,
you have to do this. And, like, you can see the resolve on all of their faces.
Yeah.
Which I fully
And
appreciate.
that makes it so acceptable, because if they just went in their guns a-blazing and started shooting and killing people with swords,
there's
you'd be
dissonance
like,
there,
Yeah.
exactly, it'd be weird. But like the fact that they had those episodes, they lost something precious to them because they had to question it, yada yada yada. And then that was it's the world building like you were talking about. Airman technically didn't kill that lady fast enough, but the whole point was she didn't kill him fast enough.
Yeah.
Like, so it is speaking to everything. It's like, no, everything in this society is kind of like messed up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone has stakes.
Yeah.
Even like Kenny's team saying like, yeah, Kenny's got this dream. It's probably not gonna work out.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's try.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just so telling about how confused everyone
well, it was like that
is.
was just the best they could do, and that's the other thing I love about Attack on Titan it puts everybody in the world of Attack on Titan is in a survival state.
Yes.
Like, and that is such a
Trauma.
cool thing to do because so like Eren is one of the most basic main characters you could have, right? He just has a revenge quest against Titans.
Yeah.
So he's just a pure teenage angst character, but it completely works because it's like, no, he lives in a world where you just get eaten by Titans, and he just fucking hates that.
Yeah.
He hates that so much
Yeah.
that all his character is fuck Titans. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what. And that's a simplistic enough thing for us to follow. Then we get these nice bits of like Hanji finding stuff out and Armin developing and, you know, Levi's backstory. But at the core of it is just a like momentum like boulder just flowing towards like fuck Titans.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think Attack on Titan is to this day it has the most momentum per ratio to its information.
Yeah.
Out of any story I've ever seen, like honestly, I hate to harp on One Piece, but like he's been really ambitious lately. But like I will also say that Attack on Titan is extremely ambitious as well as far as what it's trying to do for a story. It's like, look, we literally gave you. We're experimenting with the minimum. We're trying to find out what is
that-
the smallest amount because we want the maximum like success.
Yeah.
We want
It's
the
an
turn.
efficient machine.
Yes, they want the most efficient, and they're pushing it. And this last episode, it was telling me things, but it was also like I was getting sweats. I was like, "Is this just gonna be a reset manga? Is this what's happening?"
Oh, so I mean, like, and like, let's say that explicitly. Like, Reese's power is to change people's memories.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
erase memory.
So
Like,
basically, everything
like-
that we've seen up to now, it's
But
kind
there's
of
a
a lot.
possibility of it all being bullshit.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, like, everything we've seen is true. Everything anybody knows could be wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So, like, anything we as viewers have seen,
Yeah.
we can trust. Because our memories as viewers have
Can't
not
be
been
erased.
affected.
Yeah.
But anybody else's information could be wrong. And that starts with the premises that we've been given since the first episode.
Yeah, and one thing that I find like really interesting is that, and they didn't really voice it enough, and I can't ever remember his name, but you keep calling him Jotaro.
Yeah,
it's
Erwin.
just-
Erwin.
Okay.
Is they talked about his father,
Oh,
and for like a very brief period of time, and Erwin is just like, hey, so I've actually known this certain information like kind of my whole life, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and my dad was kind of killed for it.
Yeah.
So, and then they just didn't address it again.
Well,
I
it's-
was like,
It's coming. It's
Mm.
coming.
Oh,
But it's also that 1984 thing. If he lives in a totalitarian society where that information could get him killed.
Yeah.
And so he's had to internalize it to survive and to ultimately get to the answers to those questions. The only way to answer those questions is not to ask them for him.
Yeah.
Which
for
is
sure.
really interesting. I mean,
Which is
good
just his
human
little
drama.
shit kid's problem for doing and getting
Yeah.
his dad killed.
And
Like,
he's got so much that he's lost already, and it's just he's like the only crippled character in Attack on Titan, because if people get hurt in Attack on Titan, they die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the fact that he is the only one with one arm is really telling of, they're like, you know, because it's an anime, at least one person should have an eye patch or a
Yeah.
scar or something, but no, like he's the only one who's like, no, I've got the arm, and it's really just like a visual metaphor for like how much he's willing to sacrifice
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
which
get there,
even,
and
like,
he's the leader of
fully
the
on-
scouts.
even
so.
like his full life, like he was absolutely 100% willing. Like if the coup didn't work, he was like, no, like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
And had
He's better at all,
complete
yeah.
resolve in that. He's like, yeah, no, I'm totally okay with dying for this cause.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
so
it's
is
true leader.
Pixie's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True
it's
leader.
a very you talk about that like that efficiency. It's very much like that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, where every episode was like a chess match. It was like, no, if Jotaro gets close, like it's over.
Yeah.
But it's all about like how could we make a super intriguing process of that happening? Because at the end, Jotaro's just going to beat him up.
Yeah.
But like, how do we make that process super intriguing? How do we get the most out of that? And Attack on Titan does that to another nth degree.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
for
good.
Sure. One
Yeah.
thing that I've always appreciated about Attack on Titan is that it's not afraid to like hurt or kill characters that you're absolutely.
Oh no! Again,
Oh my
Connie and
God.
Sasha again are our last two
Yeah,
people.
like
here.
I'm so concerned. Like
Yeah.
I can't lose my potato girl.
Whatever happened to that shaved head kid
Ooh, that's what I'm mostly concerned.
with
'cause-
his mom? and
Yeah,
You know about Connie.
Is that Connie?
Is that Connie?
I
Is
thought
that his
Connie
name?
was.
Okay.
Connie and Sasha, the two that are left alive.
Oh,
Like,
that's
it. Like,
his
there's
name.
no
I'm
other,
sorry.
like, people.
I thought I was literally when you said Sasha, I was thinking about somebody else.
I knew
and
Sasha's
Potato
Potato
Girl
Girl
and
Baldy
Buzzcut.
Ball.
guy.
Got it.
There you go.
Okay.
That's better.
I don't
I'm
have
sorry.
names.
Jesus.
You don't bother learning their names.
They're the only two left. They have names.
But just like really concerned me with like the whole information we got with the Titan. It's like, no, we saw that his mom was a Titan, so would that kind of like pull him in? I see that grin. I see
Dude,
that grin.
people-
I see that grin.
So the thing is, there's a lot of this. Do people get turned into Titans? Is there somebody turning people into Titans? Are there other Titans? Are there other humans who are sending people who are Titans to places? The thing is, all of that is on the table
Yeah.
because of the game changer of the memory thing. But for some reason, an anime that has had like
2.5 seasons.
2.5 seasons
Yeah.
is limping along, has like the most basic skeleton structure. I would have given up on it. Like I've watched
No,
anime
the
for
manga
years.
But
sucks.
I'm so
like,
invested.
like drawing, like what?
Drawing
The manga
wise.
sucks.
It's not about that. It's not an illustrative
No,
quality.
no, no. But just to like put in like how like the animators have done so much work.
Oh my
is what I'm
God.
saying.
Yes.
And it's only because they knew from square one to scratch
That
what
was
they
good,
had.
yeah. But like there are scenes like I'm even reading like I read basically from the point the episode is at forward, I would say.
Okay.
And I read some early before, but I had even
Just to
forgotten
refresh.
because it was just so forgettable and not good.
Yeah.
But anyway, like when two characters are drawn next to each other, they look the same in the manga.
Yeah.
Like he can't draw to spec. So to have like one of the most beautifully specced anime with every
Yeah.
character being identifiable at a distance and
Yeah.
like drawn correctly every time they're on the screen
It's-
with beautiful animation, it's so tremendous to see them like pull that out. Like
Well,
Yeah,
it is
for
really
sure.
just, again, it's a marvel of like, okay, we don't have too much to work with, but it's actually good because then we can do our own thing. We're going to invest heavily in it, and that's going to take more time, so that's going to cripple it. We're not going to give you enough information, so it's going to hurt, but the animation is God tier, so you know that they know that something's going to happen.
yeah, there's
It's-
a lot of trust is built slowly
Yes.
Yeah.
until the season 2 opening, which I still can't.
I
like,
love the music. If only they
It
had
wa-
like different.
it was
scenery.
hype
It would've
AF,
been
to
better.
be
it's
fair.
just it communicated so much false information.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the closing like a
I
crap.
don't-
I heard
don't
so
even-
much shit about
I
that.
don't even...
I was told not
Okay.
to watch it because apparently
Didn't
it was giving
spoil-
away.
yeah.
So does the ending of this season have spoilers?
The ending of the season. What's the ending? Of
So
the
it's
season?
like
I
the
haven't watched it.
postcards of like, I'm pretty sure it's Historia, like she's underwater and then she's walking and there's bullshit.
no.
You haven't watched that? Okay.
No, it doesn't. It
Oh,
doesn't
well,
spoil anything.
I mean, maybe if you knew like too deep, you could, but like, yeah.
Yeah, if you knew it already, sure you can see like, oh, that was from that. But like, you don't know that, so it doesn't mean anything to you. You know,
That's fair.
it's like anime openings when it's like, oh, when are they gonna fight that guy? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, sure, it's a spoiler, but it's not. Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
it's not
Like all
really.
My
Yeah.
Hero. Like,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. It's-
Again, it's so amazing that we still have faith in this series, and that's really why we wanted to have a reaction.
Right, that's
to
the thing.
it.
I got to
Yeah.
this point, and I had to read the manga at this point because I was like, I am so interested in the story that I cannot allow it to burn me later.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
like, I can't watch another. Like literally, I couldn't get to this last episode that just came out without knowing that like it was safe for me to like be invested
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
I had to ask him after this last episode. I'm like, okay,
Because
is
I knew
is
I would
it-
feel that way.
Is this
I knew-
worth
I
it?
knew I
Because
would
I am
feel
this close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got scared and I read the manga. I know we had both kind of resolved to like, hey, let's watch the
Yeah,
anime,
I
see what they do.
I just
because
hate
it
the
could be really
art,
good.
so.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
No, and it
Oh,
just sucks
man.
because the whole time that I've been watching this, my boyfriend is just like, you know nothing. You know
Nah.
nothing. And then I get to this point and I look at him, I'm like, do I know something? And he's like, nope,
Nope.
you still know nothing. I was like, ugh.
I wouldn't feel shitty about it though. It doesn't. So like
That's the point.
if they had like followed through on like the season 2 opening, it would have been like pretty heavy and pretty like okay, how did they do that? But what they do is less just mind blowing. It's just like okay, it's interesting. It's measured. It's interesting.
That's good.
Yeah.
They continue to control the amount of information you get.
But are we
It's
saying...
an IV drip.
But but the thing is, it's constant because these last couple of episodes have been so like, oh no, we're just gonna drop 2 truth bombs every episode.
Exactly,
but like every episode.
So
Yeah.
if you zoom out and you look at Attack on Titan, the anime so far, it would be really easy to think that like any episode could just change everything I know and just blow my mind, and I could be really upset by what they blow my mind with. But if you really zoom into like especially season 3 and how much is accomplished in every single episode, if you just think about that logically, like, okay, so the next episode has to meet that same criteria.
Yeah.
And the next episode,
And
the
it
next
does.
episode.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it trickles. It's good. It's good shit.
It is.
Yeah.
But it is a constant flow.
It is for the first time, like it's reacting to its promises.
Yeah.
It's literally giving us what we want, and that's why we're excited.
I mean, this is the first time we've wrapped around to Aaron's father. The MacGuffin
Yeah.
from season 1.
the
Like,
first
And
time.
we visually saw information incriminating him.
Yeah.
So like we have an opinion.
Yeah.
By somebody who can change memories. So like it's,
You're sitting
Well,
there
we
watching,
saw it, okay?
I'm
Just
sitting
go
there
back to
watching
that.
Aaron, and I can see, like,
Oh
without
my God,
Aaron even
the
talking,
doubt.
just
The
the doubt in
doubt.
his eyes of, is this even worth it? Am I a terrible person? Was my dad
he has
terrible?
no.
Like,
The thing is, Aaron is so
much.
perfectly us because normally we'd expect Aaron to get angry,
Yeah.
but he is in shock, just trying to process information.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yep.
And that's interesting because it's a different state.
we're held captive by our lack of information.
Yes.
Our ice prison.
In the
We are
same way that
also
he's-
shackled and
Yeah.
on our knees, and also have a rippling 6-pack. Like it's,
8-pack if you count.
I counted the 8-pack on
He's
his
had a
back.
good back.
Jesus
Damn, Aaron.
Christ! Like the time skip has been good for him.
Hey, being a Titan does stuff for you, alright?
A lot of endorphins. All right, well, yeah, guys, just keep watching.
Yeah, let us
Yeah.
know what your thoughts have been so far. Definitely check out that next episode, and that's a KO.
眠れない